What's up, guys? My name is Logan Patrick, and you're watching The Real NHI. Now, today, I'm going to be taking you on a journey with me to Washington, D.C. at the National Press Club, where James Fox and his team hosted an event where the witnesses from their documentary, Moment of Contact, New Revelations of Alien Encounters, came and gave their testimony at Washington, D.C. Just 2 blocks away from the Capitol, these witnesses came forth, gave their testimony, and it was moving. This isn't some sci-fi or fiction. This is a documentary, and these are really credible witnesses, and I want you to be a part of the journey that I got to go on, and I'm going to give you an inside look at how an activist who's been involved in this topic since the early 90s, his name is Steve Bassett. He's not a researcher, but he'll get into that, but he knows exactly what's going on behind the scenes in Washington and what this all means. So let's dive in. Okay, so we're heading down there now. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we are at the National Press Club right now. It's nice to be back here, but we should be getting in there in a little bit. It starts at 11 o'clock. We are inside, cameras are all set up, and I think it starts in 51 minutes, and I've already met a couple people here, and it's gonna be pretty cool. Okay, so first we're gonna have James Fox give a brief synopsis of what happened during the case in 1996. I did have to put subtitles on because it was a little difficult to hear him, but let's hear what he has to say.
What brings us here together today is what I consider, and many others, the most compelling case in modern history. In January 1996, in Varginha, Brazil, numerous witnesses reported a cigar-shaped object in distress, which ultimately crashed in a field, Maiolini Farm, just outside the city of Varginha, Brazil. Several days later, on January 20th, 3 girls outside the city, ages 14, 16, and 21, came within a few steps of an otherworldly creature, cowering in broad daylight against a wall in a vacant lot. Over time, it was revealed that the Brazilian Fire Department and military police captured 2 non-human beings on that same day. According to multiple Brazilian government officials, the crash debris and non-human beings, likely one still living, were flown out of Brazil within days by U.S. Air Force and presumably remain in the possession of a secret U.S. government classified research program. More and more witnesses are coming forward because courage is infectious and there's strength in numbers. This investigation is far from over. We are encouraging a coalition between officials from the U.S. and Brazil to acquire additional records, including potential video and photographic evidence of this case. I believe in this case because this could settle the debate once and for all that we're not alone. I'm very grateful to our Brazilian witnesses taking the time to come all this way to be here with us today. We had to move mountains and walk on water. It's one of the earliest civilian witnesses to the events surrounding the Varginha crash. He's a former businessman, a longtime geography teacher, and an experienced ultralight pilot. So we're very grateful to have Carlos here with us today. Carlos, please.
Bom dia, senhoras e senhores.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to speak with you today. Forgive me, I'm a bit nervous. This movie of the scene just plays in my head all the time. I witnessed the crash of a non-terrestrial craft on January 13, 1996. I was en route from São Paulo to the city of Três Corações via Fernão Dias Highway in Minas Gerais for an ultralight pilots gathering. When I made a brief stop near Varginha, I looked skyward. I spotted a cigar-shaped object which seemed distressed. Initially, I assumed it was a blimp, common at the time over soccer fields for broadcasts. It released white smoke while losing altitude. It made a slight turn that revealed a lateral tear from the middle to the back. It was clearly having problems. Only a pilot would know the difficulty of seeing a craft in trouble. So I quickly realized that the occupants could be in deep trouble. I got in my car and followed its trajectory towards the crash site, hoping to be able to help. When I got there, I smelled a foul odor, like ammonia with rotten eggs, burning my eyes. Half the craft remained intact by a tree, and the debris of the back part was scattered everywhere. Multiple army vehicles arrived promptly. At that point, I was in the middle of the wreckage, and I picked up a lightweight fragment resembling aluminum foil. I crumpled it in my hand, but when I let go, it instantly resumed its shape. A soldier approached fast and hit me in the chest with his rifle, so I was forced to drop the metal I was holding. He shouted, Leave now, I replied. No, people in there need help. He aimed his gun at my head and said, I am not requesting, it is an order. Leave now or I'll split your skull. I turned and departed immediately. I was very scared and confused. I left the area and stopped at the first gas station to compose myself. A few minutes later, a very dark blue, near black vehicle pulled up. Two suited men got out and approached me. One of these men approached him and called him by name, stating his address, naming wife and business, and he asked, "Who are you?" And this man threatened, "You saw nothing, you know nothing, or you will have problems for the rest of your life." They departed swiftly. I grabbed a napkin to write down the license plate, but there wasn't one.
Imploro a todos os presentes aqui, após 30 anos, ridicularizado, julgado pela sociedade, não nos abandone novamente. Permitam que a verdade venha à tona. Tenham coragem de falar a verdade para nós. Eu não sou louco. Ninguém é louco aqui. Tenho família, como qualquer um. Por favor, falem a verdade àquele que sabe, às autoridades. Só peço isso. Verdade.
I implore the authorities and people present, after 30 years of ridicule and societal judgment, do not abandon us again. Allow the truth to emerge. Summon the courage to disclose it. Thank you very much.
Wow, what an incredible testimony from Carlos. If you couldn't tell, the audience was absolutely moved. I did get a chance to talk with him afterwards. Really nice guy, sweet guy, down to earth. He did say I looked like the guys who intimidated him at the gas station. He said we were built the exact same, which is maybe why he posed with me like this in our picture. I thought it was kind of funny, but give me a big hug afterwards. So I did ask you guys for question suggestions on Reddit, and I did ask them. So one of which was there any type of telepathic communication that he could feel, hear, or sense from the craft? And he said no. And the other question, which I thought was really significant, that they don't really make a whole lot of point to focus on in the film, was how much time actually passed between when he saw the craft crash and he left the site and those two gentlemen approached him at the gas station. He told me 12 to 13 minutes. So in Brazil in 1996, he saw a craft crash. He was forced away by the military. And when he got to the gas station, two gentlemen approached him in suits and knew his first and last name, his wife's name, where he works, and his address of where he lives. So think about that. Up next, we have Dr. Italo Venturelli.
In 2023, I revealed to James Fox and his team that I had seen a video of a non-human creature in the hospital on January 20th, 1996. After suffering a near-fatal heart attack in 2024, I felt compelled to share more details of my experience despite previous concern about consequences for my career. That afternoon in 1996, I was working at Varginha Regional Hospital when my colleague and fellow neurosurgeon Marcos Vinicius Neve urgently called me into an improvised intensive care room. He was carrying a large video camera. Upon entering, he showed me a black and white video on the camera screen that appeared to be a child lying in bed with an extreme case of hydrocephalus. I asked, "What is this?" He pointed past the makeshift partition where a being was lying. I got closer. The moment I looked at the being, I immediately knew it was not human. I first examined it with a medical perspective, breathing well, no apparent pain, conscious, no bleeding. It seemed fine, with a calm and serene expression.
Parecia uma criança de uns 7 anos. Lençol coberto, até aqui, no corpo, né, até a cintura. Os olhos eram lilás.
It looked like a 7-year-old child with a sheet covering up to its waist. Its eyes were lilac and teardrop shaped. The cranium was also teardrop shaped. The skin was white, the arms were very thin, and the hand had 3 fingers and an opposing thumb. It had no nipples and a tiny mouth.
Ele olhou para mim, olhou para o céu de uma janela, olhou para mim novamente,
He looked at me, then looked at the blue sky through the window as if longing to be there, then looked back at me.
e a impressão que eu tive nessa segunda troca de olhar foi que ele tinha completa consciência do que estava acontecendo ao seu redor e da nossa intenção de ajudá-lo.
After that, I sensed he was fully aware of what was happening around it and our intention to help.
Senti que ele estava agradecido pelos cuidados, que queria ir embora.
I felt it was grateful for the care and wanted to leave.
A sua serenidade e a presença imponente me levaram a acreditar que eu estava na presença de nível de inteligência muito elevado.
Its serenity and powerful presence led me to believe it had a very high level of intelligence and perception, higher than human beings. It seemed like an angel with understanding and compassion in its gaze, aware that, despite our limitations, we were doing the best we could for it. I stand before you with nothing to gain and everything to lose. I am not selling anything or asking for money.
Ainda trabalho como neurocirurgião. Estou aqui porque, principalmente para as novas gerações, eles merecem saber que há muito mais além do que a nossa existência humana. E eu sou uma testemunha. Thanks.
I still work as a neurosurgeon, and I am here because everyone, especially the younger generations, deserve to know there's much more beyond human existence, and I am eyewitness to the truth.
For someone who's got so much to lose and nothing to gain, he's not making a dime, he's not selling a book, he's not trying to sell a documentary, he's still working on people's brains. So I know that courage is infectious, and it's strength in numbers. Today marks the 30th anniversary of this incident. So if anyone out there is listening to this, it's involved certainly on the American side, particularly on the Brazilian side. If you're ever thinking about coming forward, now's the time.
Once again, incredible testimony from a neurosurgeon. Now, not retired, this is a currently practicing neurosurgeon. And that has a huge impact, far-reaching, believe me. And again, you guys gave me some question suggestions from Reddit, and I did get to ask him one. I asked him what the telepathic communication was like. Please describe it more in detail. And he said that there actually wasn't telepathic communication. It was more just like a knowing and an awareness that this being had. The way that it looked him in the eyes and looked off into the distance in the sky and looked back at him. He said he could just sense that like the being was okay, that it was safe, that it didn't want to be there though. So it was more of just like a knowing. Again, another sweet guy. I talked with him using Google Translate, not even his translator. I told him to bless him and his family for him having the courage to come forward. And he started tearing up and gave me a big hug. So awesome experience just to be there and meet these people in person. All right, up next, we're gonna hear from a Congressman Burleson. But first, let's take a quick stop in with our interview with Steve Bassett and hear what he has to say about all this.
I'm the executive director of Paradigm Research Group, which is an activist advocacy organization that I founded back in 1996, believe it or not. So I'm an activist and only an activist. I'm not a researcher, I'm not a journalist. And the activist goal is very simple. It's a lot easier and simpler than many activist movements, and that is, we want the President of the United States to finally confirm that we have the non-human technological presence, and we have technology, that's disclosure with a capital D. And then after that, my activism goes into the post-disclosure world, which is advocating for how we should and most properly should handle and deal with this new incredible world that we just have.
I asked Steve, what was the significance of where this event was located?
Well, first and foremost, this was like the 18th or 19th press conference on this subject that has been held at the National Press Club. No other entity in the world has held more press conferences on this subject than the National Press Club, which is hard to describe how important that is and has been to the field. They have never denied an appropriate press conference on this subject. They've been wonderful. I've worked with them now many, many times. I'm a member, of course. I'm officed in the building on which they exist. And it's not trivial to note that the National Press Club is 2 blocks from the White House.
And what was the message of this event?
The core of the conference was about one of the most important cases that he has done documentaries about and researched for years. And James has just done an incredible amount of work on that. But here is, to me, the most important thing that happened at this event. Congressman Eric Burlison agreed to be there. He got up and spoke to the audience that we need to get this issue out. The people have a right to know it, and the Congress has been working on this. And then he got a standing ovation from everybody in that room, 200 plus.
Congress took action and passed the JFK Disclosure Act unanimously. They wouldn't have done that had it not been for an outcry from the public that was demanding answers. And it's my hope that your film and others like it will create that kind of momentum and that outcry. Because the truth is, if there's any government that's holding information about the knowledge of whether or not we are alone or not alone in the universe, that is not for any government, no matter how powerful it is, to withhold from the rest of humanity.
Yeah.
We are here to serve the people. This government belongs to you. You don't belong to the government. And never forget that. And so I'm here to serve you, to try to get the truth to the people. We're working diligently to do that in the committee that I'm on. And I have a responsibility in that regard. I want to say thank you to these courageous individuals, my new friends from Brazil. We've been given marching orders. We have legislation that we need to pass. We've heard from a lot of witnesses. It's time for action. Yeah. And it's time to get the receipts. So it's time to pass the UAP Disclosure Act. So much information is currently today being released, consistent. Agencies of this federal government never wanted to see the light of day. It's because Congress took action, because the people demanded it. I'm asking you, everyone here, we need reporters that are brave, that are willing to publish stories, and we need social media warriors out there to continue to spread that information. Act and push on members of Congress, because otherwise they won't do anything about it. Thank you again, and I'm proud to serve.
As far as I know, and I've been in this field a long time, no member of Congress has ever gotten a standing ovation while addressing this subject publicly, ever. This would be the first time. And watched by a lot of people, including members of Congress, and they're gonna watch and go, you know, wow, that's pretty good. I could use a standing ovation or two, and that could bring some people in. So, I mean, these are the kinds of things as an activist I focus on. But once again, Congressman Burlison has done something very important. He is to be praised for the efforts he is making. 100%. Also, Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna, Nancy Mace got involved, and of course you've got the senators, Trumer, Rounds, Gillibrand. They have obviously been involved in the legislation. I mean, there is in fact a significant congressional engagement of the issue, which has generated 4 tranches of legislation, and they created a task force, all of which would have blown the mind of anybody in this field in 1955, 65, 75, 85. And that's one of the reasons why I'm confident in saying that we are practically there. We could see confirmation from the president at any time, or another head of state, because we've gone to places we've never gone. We made enormous progress. And I'm proud of all my colleagues that have helped make that happen.
Why has it been so important for Congress to be holding these public hearings, and what is that doing for the topic?
Platform had to be built that would allow the president to step out on it and confirm this technologically advanced non-human presence and maybe a few other things, but that's all he has to do, and have it be appropriate, responsible, and go well. Because up until recently, that would not have been the case. We had legislation starting in 2020 for 2021, and then 2022 and 2023. A major piece that was the entire package called the UAP Disclosure Act was submitted and passed by the Senate, got cut in half by the House, and it's still in play. There's another piece of legislation, a standalone, that Eric Burleson is going to enter into the House as a standalone bill, which includes part of what was taken from the UAP Disclosure Act, and that's the review panel. And of course, members of Congress have matter-of-factly gone out in front of cameras and said there is a presence here, such as Burchett. They've appeared on podcasts. All of these things are the platform that was needed. And so the president could step out tomorrow or go into the Oval Office tomorrow or at some major event, right? Could be a huge event with millions of people watching, and say, I'm going to confirm to you today that we do have that non-human technology. There is a technological advanced non-human presence. And of course, you want to know more about that. And I'm going to, as your president, make sure that you find out about that. And I support the legislation and what have you. And that's enough. That's disclosure, capital D. That platform is now built. There's a couple of extra planks that could be added, and they will be, but they're not required right now. And that's why after 30 years, I'm finally thinking we're just about to cross the finish line.
Some final words from Steve Bassett.
Great appreciation and respect to James Fox, who has devoted most of his life to this, gone through hell, and he's gone through it with the family and kids and all that. He's sacrificed, he's relentless, he's made great docs. He deserves to have the opportunity with major funding to make more docs. And the National Press Club for this event yesterday, which I had the pleasure to be at, and all the people that came. And let me tell you, there was a lot of sharp people there.
That there were, Steve. Definitely some sharp people there. But all jokes aside, I had an awesome time at the conference. Big shout out to James Fox for holding the event and his team. I met some great people there, some other content creators, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with them. I am going to post my full interview with Steve Bassett. A side note, Jacques Vallée did have a pre-recorded video testimony that they played at the conference, and I thought it was so significant that it deserves its own video. So stay tuned for that as well. Now, if you don't know what this channel is about, we're going to be focusing solely on the experiencer side of the phenomenon because, like Burleson said, we've heard enough from the whistleblowers and the witnesses from the government. I want to hear what you guys have experiencing, so go to TheRealNHI.com to share your story and a little bit about you. It's with me, privately encrypted, and we can discuss how we share your story, whether it's through an in-person interview, a video conference call, or anonymously. It's totally up to you. Or just email me directly at TheRealNHI@proton.com. That's all for tonight, guys, but if you guys have any questions, please post it in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and remember, love yourself because nobody else is qualified to do that job except you.